The story begins with a terrifying mystery, an unbelievable scene no one could have anticipated. Anna, the horse, suddenly acting abnormally, causes the Jolie family to worry deeply. But no one knows that behind this strange behavior lies a shocking truth. Anna is not only pregnant, but is also about to give birth. However, this is not a normal event. Anna, a loyal and trustworthy horse, now faces an unexpected accident, something beyond imagination. But the biggest question is, who did this and why? Everything is just beginning. One cold winter night, as the faint moonlight filters through the trees, Angelina Jolie steps out of the house, awakened by strange sounds coming from the stable. The biting cold wind blows fiercely, but the sense of unease in her heart drives her to step into the darkness. As she approaches the stable, she sees Anna, the mare, pacing back and forth in an unusual manner. Breathing heavily and with a frantic look in her eyes, as if trying to say something, a wave of anxiety rises in Angelina as she quickly heads to the control room to check the security cameras. The screen displays blurry footage, but then a shocking image appears. Her eyes widen, her breath quickens as the scene gradually becomes clearer. A strange figure is approaching Anna, moving like a ghost in the night before disappearing into a shadowy corner of the stable. "It can't be," Angelina whispers, her trembling hand hitting pause on the video. She looks back toward the stable, where Anna remains restless, her heavy breaths breaking the quiet of the night. In Anna's eyes there is a mixture of pain and fear that she cannot ignore. Who came in here? And what did they do to Anna? Every question flashes through her mind like pieces of a dark mystery she must unravel. Little does Angelina know, what she is about to uncover will change everything she thought she knew about the safety and tranquility of this place. What happened? The next morning, unlike any other morning, the gentle spring light filters through the stable window, casting long shadows on the wooden floor. Angelina Jolie stands there, her eyes intently watching Anna, the jet-black horse they had adopted years ago. Normally, Anna is a calm and gentle horse, always preferring the company of humans to working in the fields. But today, she seems frantic, acting out of character. Thin beads of sweat glisten on her coat, making Angelina anxious. She has never seen Anna like this before. She approaches the stable, gently stroking Anna's mane, trying to calm the fear in her heart. "It's okay, girl," she whispers, but the worry still clings to her. She has seen similar signs in other animals, but never in Anna. This horse had never shown signs of pregnancy, no change in behavior, no swelling, no weight gain, all typical signs in horses about to give birth. But now, it seems Anna is preparing for something important. Unable to wait any longer, Angelina grabs her mobile phone, a device she doesn't fully understand but has learned to use in emergencies, and calls the trusted vet in town, Dr. Ray. "Doctor, it's me, Angelina Jolie," she says, her voice calm but tinged with urgency. "Something's wrong with Anna. Can you come to the farm? This might be serious." Dr. Ray arrives quickly. A calm, older man with steady hands and a reassuring voice, he has examined Anna many times and always found her healthy and strong. But when he steps into the stable and sees Anna, his brow furrows with concern. "You say Anna started like this morning?" he asks, bending down for a more thorough check. "Since last night," Angelina replies, her voice now filled with worry. "But today it's worse. She's pacing back and forth, and I'm afraid something's happening," she says, hesitating to voice the possibility she has not dared consider. Could Anna be about to give birth? It seems impossible, but she senses deep down that something inside is telling her this is the truth. Dr. Ray silently checks Anna's vital signs, his face growing more serious with each passing moment. After a few tense minutes, he looks up at Angelina. "It seems she's about to give birth," he says, his words hitting Angelina like a stone. "But don't jump to conclusions. I'll prepare for complications, just in case the worst happens." Angelina nods, momentarily at a loss for words. How could this happen? Anna has never left the farm, and everyone knows they don't have a stallion. Something is wrong, and the unease lingers as she watches Dr. Ray prepare the equipment and arrange the stable for what is to come. As night falls, Angelina can barely sit still. The dim light from the stars isn't enough to illuminate the stable, but the tension in the air feels like an invisible presence lurking. She knows what she needs to do. The questions swirling in her mind have only one answer. "I'm going to check the cameras again," she declares, heading to the small room in the stable. Her husband looks at her with skepticism but doesn't stop her. Angelina is determined, and he knows better than to interfere with her wishes. She enters the room, turns on the screen, and the blurry image begins to clear up. The footage slowly appears, and as she waits, her mind is filled with questions. Anna has never been near a stallion, or at least she thought so. The memories of always keeping Anna away from stallions now seem to mock her. Then she sees it. Her heart stops. All of this happened nearly 2 months ago, on a quiet night when everyone was fast asleep. The footage shows a figure lingering near Anna's stable. At first it was just a blurry shape, an indistinct silhouette, but then the light from the stable begins to reveal more. A woman gently opening the door to bring a stallion inside. Angelina leans closer to the screen, her breath quickening. The horse, unmistakably, is a stallion, heading straight toward Anna. Anna lets out a pained cry, causing Angelina to shudder. She stares at Dr. Ray and her husband, unable to breathe. The minutes that follow seem to stretch on forever, each sound from Anna making Angelina's heart ache. But finally, a soft sigh of relief comes from Dr. Ray. "We did it," he says, a faint smile appearing on his tense face. Angelina looks down, and a small foal, wet with amniotic fluid, lies at Anna's feet. Its eyes are wide open, curiously surveying the surroundings. Tears flow down Angelina's cheeks. "Oh my God," she whispers, her emotions a mix of joy and shock. She gently strokes Anna's head. "You did great, Anna. You did great." But the joy is short-lived. While Dr. Ray checks the foal's health, Angelina cannot help but think of the video and the mysterious woman who brought Robert into Anna's stable. Why did she do that? And why didn't John, the trustworthy neighbor, know anything about it? After everything had calmed down, Angelina decided to face the truth. She invited John to the farm, bringing the video footage as evidence. When John watched the footage, his face darkened, not in anger but in confusion. "Angelina, I know nothing about this," he said, his voice sincere. "Robert was never allowed to leave the stall at night, and I don't recognize the woman in the video." Angelina frowned, her confusion growing. "Then who, and why?" she asked, but no one had an answer. The story of Anna and the newborn foal quickly spread throughout the small town, becoming the subject of heated discussion among the townsfolk. Although everyone rallied to help Angelina and her family, she could not shake the uneasy feeling deep inside her. A strange sense of guilt, as if something was not quite right. Anna's baby, although born healthy, seemed to carry a mystery, a lingering sense of something untouchable, something obscure that neither Angelina nor Dr. Ray could explain. Time passed slowly, as though it were stretching on endlessly. Dr. Ray leaned back, wiping the sweat from his brow, his voice hoarse but relieved. "We've managed," he announced, smiling faintly, but the smile couldn't conceal the tension in his eyes. "Now, we just have to wait for Anna to do the rest." A wave of relief spread through the air, but the sense of relaxation lasted only a brief moment. Before they could even sigh in relief, the painful contractions returned, more intense than before. Each contraction felt as if it were gnawing away, causing Anna to gasp for breath, trembling with the sound of hooves pounding on the wooden floor in a desperate rhythm, echoing through the room, filling the witnesses with sorrow. Angelina remained by Anna's side, constantly supporting the heavy body of the horse, whispering words of comfort, though her heart was swirling with fear. Her hands trembled, but she persisted as if her words could soothe the horse's pain. Everything seemed hopeless, but a faint glimmer of hope still flickered in the darkness. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a sudden crack broke the stillness of the room. Anna gave one last push, and the foal, weak and fragile, was born. It was tiny, its body soaked with fluid, almost motionless, with only a faint breath escaping from its fragile body. In that moment, the world seemed to stop. Everyone held their breath, nervously watching the tiny creature, waiting to see if it would move, if it would breathe. A minute passed, and then, suddenly, the foal stirred. It lifted its leg, trembling, trying to stand, letting out a faint whimper. Angelina's eyes filled with tears, her heart melting as relief flooded through her. "Thank God," she whispered, her voice shaking, unable to contain her emotions. "Thank you, little one." But that joy didn't last. When Dr. Ray approached to examine the foal, his expression immediately changed. His brows furrowed in concern, his hands trembling as he touched the foal's small body. "This isn't right," he muttered, his voice heavy with worry. He turned to Angelina, who was still wiping tears from her cheeks. "Something's wrong," he continued, his eyes filled with suspicion. The foal, although trying to stand, was still unsteady, covered in straw. Its awkward, trembling movements revealed a strange deformity. Its legs were unnaturally bent, and its fragile body twisted in odd directions. Dr. Ray stared at the foal, his face puzzled, as if searching for an explanation. Angelina could only stare at the fragile life before her, born after so much effort, now facing something worse. "Doctor, what's happening?" Angelina asked, her voice a barely audible sigh, almost lost in the air. "What's wrong with it?" Dr. Ray stood up straight, sighed heavily, and wiped his hands with a handkerchief he had taken from his pocket. "I can't be certain, Angelina," he began, his voice serious. "But there are some signs that worry me. Its joints seem underdeveloped, and its spine, there's something strange about its curvature." He paused, his gaze still fixed on the struggling foal. "It could be a genetic defect, or it might be related to how it was conceived." Those final words hit like a cold shock, causing Angelina's spine to stiffen. "How it was conceived," she repeated, her voice nearly choking. Even so, deep down, she knew exactly what Dr. Ray was implying. She thought of the security footage, the image of the mysterious woman leading Robert into the stall that night. An urgent feeling surged within her, like a wave rising high, sweeping away all remaining fears. "We can't let this go on like this, Doctor," she said firmly, her voice now resolute. "We need to find out the truth. I need to know who did this, why it happened, and whether Robert was involved. We need answers from John." The next morning, the air in the Jolie household was heavy, like the calm before a storm. The morning sunlight streamed in, but it could not warm the cold, tense atmosphere. Angelina stood on the porch, wearing her thickest coat, not for style, but to shield herself from the emotional waves crashing inside her. She felt as if that thick fabric could protect her from the harsh words that were about to be spoken. John stood at the door, his face filled with confusion and worry. Although Mr. Jolie had called him early that morning, he could tell from the tone of the call that something was wrong, something that couldn't be explained with simple words. "Good morning, John," Mr. Jolie said. His tone changed, no longer the easygoing warmth it usually carried, now grave and heavy. "We need to talk about something we've just discovered." John invited them inside, but Angelina didn't move. "We'll talk right here if you don't mind," she replied firmly. She couldn't step inside that house, a place full of peaceful memories, when everything was about to be torn apart. "What's going on?" John asked, his eyes now filled with a fear he couldn't hide. Angelina took a deep breath, her gaze piercing through the morning light. Last night, Anna encountered something strange. When she gave birth, Dr. Ray noticed something unusual about the foal, so we checked the security cameras. And we saw Robert, your horse, in our stall that night. Can you explain this? John was stunned, his eyes wide with surprise. Robert? No way. He's always been in his stall at night. I'm sure of it. He's never left. He paused, thinking about what he had just said, and then his expression darkened. But lately, Lucy's been acting strange. I didn't want to say it too soon, but maybe we should talk to her. A wave of fear rose in Angelina's chest like a powerful tide. She had hoped that John would deny everything, that he would insist Robert could never have left the stall. But when he mentioned Lucy, his gentle, reserved daughter, it left her with an unease that she couldn't shake. Then we'll clear this up right now, Angelina said, her tone strong, decisive. Call Lucy out here. We need answers now. John went inside, and just a few minutes later, he returned with Lucy. The young girl stood before them, her shoulders stiff, her eyes unable to meet anyone's gaze. Angelina could see the fear in every step she took, and a cold chill seemed to engulf the room. Lucy didn't dare look anyone in the eye, her face carrying a secret that even she couldn't bear. Silence filled the room. The unsaid words hung in the air, threatening to reveal themselves at any moment. Please explain to me. What happened? Angelina spoke up, her voice firm, though there was still a trace of restraint. Why did you bring Robert into Anna's stall without saying a word to us? Lucy stood still, her gaze suddenly meeting the stern eyes of the Jolie family. She bit her lip, her hands clenched tightly, as if trying to find a way to escape the impending collapse. I thought I was doing the right thing, Lucy began, her voice barely above a whisper, growing softer. My family is going through a lot of financial hardship. When I realized Robert had value, I thought if Anna had a foal with him, we could sell it and have enough money to cover our expenses. I just wanted to help. Help my father. Each word she spoke felt like a dagger to Angelina's heart, choking her with its weight. She had spent her whole life caring for Anna, protecting the horse she loved as a family member. This betrayal made her snap with anger, an anger she could no longer suppress. So you think that was the right thing to do? Angelina questioned, her gaze sharp as ice. Do you think you could do that in the dead of night, secretly, without anyone noticing? You don't understand. Anna is not just a horse, she's our family. Lucy dared not respond. She stood there, trembling under Angelina's cold, furious stare, but this time she could not avoid it. I know I was wrong, Lucy said, her voice shaking, tears streaming down her reddened cheeks. I didn't think things would go this far. I just wanted to help my family. John, who had been silent the entire time, now turned to his daughter. His face was full of disappointment, his eyes heavy with an unfathomable sorrow. Why didn't you tell me, Lucy? His voice cracked, mingling with his disappointment. If you were struggling, why didn't you come to me? You can't handle everything on your own without thinking about the consequences. Lucy looked at her father, her eyes swollen from tears. I didn't want to make you worry, she said weakly, exhausted. I just wanted to find a way to help. But now I know I was wrong. Angelina looked at Lucy, the anger inside her gradually fading, replaced by deep disappointment. I'm sorry your family is going through tough times, Lucy, she said, her tone softening, but her eyes remained cold. I understand, but that doesn't excuse your actions. You had no right to do this to Anna, not like this. Lucy could only lower her head, nodding in acknowledgement. I understand. I'll do everything I can to make it right, she said, her voice full of profound pain. The faint light of dawn streamed through the window, casting a glow on Angelina's face, but it wasn't enough to soothe the storm of emotions raging within her. She closed her eyes, trying to find calm amid a sea of anger and sadness. Every word she was about to speak felt like a sharp knife cutting into her heart. Facing Lucy, the betrayal felt like an unhealable wound. She wasn't only dealing with her own pain, but also with a harsh reality. Everything was slipping out of her control. When she opened her eyes, her gaze was cold and decisive. She looked straight at Lucy, her heart heavy. "I don't know what you can do to fix this," she said, her voice cold but not hiding her pain. "But what I know for sure is I don't want you anywhere near Anna or our farm anymore. You've caused enough pain for all of us. Now stay away. Don't make me face you again." Angelina's words felt like a sentence with no room for negotiation. Lucy stood there, offering no resistance, no pleas. Only a thick silence enveloped them, as if every sound had vanished, leaving only numb emotions. Though in pain, Lucy quietly nodded, fully aware that she was the one who had pushed everything to the brink. "I understand," Lucy whispered, her eyes briefly flicking over to her father, as though offering an apology she couldn't speak. "Dad, I'm sorry. I never wanted it to end this way." As she walked out of the room, Angelina felt as though she had shed a massive weight. However, an oddly persistent sense of emptiness lingered. She didn't regret the decision she had made, but the sadness still clung to her. At that moment, she had to do the one thing she couldn't avoid: protect what was left. Anna, the foal, and her family, all of them needed her steadfastness without any wavering. By the time Angelina returned to the farm, the sky had turned dark. The night had settled. The still air seemed to devour everything, but her heart burned like a fire that would never go out. She walked into the stable, approaching Anna. The horse she had poured all her love into. Anna was resting, her golden coat shimmering under the dim light. The foal, still trembling, was finding its legs, as if struggling to face the world. Angelina knelt beside them, gently stroking Anna's back. "Hello, beautiful girl," she whispered, a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time filling her heart. The mare lifted her head, her deep eyes locking with Angelina's, containing an understanding beyond words. "Everything will be all right," Angelina continued, her voice like a promise. "We'll take care of you and your foal. No one will hurt you again." The foal approached, sniffing curiously, like it wanted to greet her. Though weak and innocent, it brought a spark of hope into Angelina's heart. She smiled, her heart melting at this fragile new life. "Emma," she whispered the foal's name, feeling the name resonate softly within her. "That will be your name, because you are the gift we never expected, but that brings hope to all of us." As she gently stroked the foal's head, she felt a deep shift within her. A tiny light flickered amid the storm of her life. The next morning, the Jolie family gathered around the breakfast table, but the atmosphere was no longer as heavy as before. Though tired, their eyes were filled with resolve. Angelina no longer felt guilt or hesitation. The decision had been made, and she knew she had to be stronger than ever. No more mistakes, no more leniency. "We must ensure this never happens again," she declared, her gaze sharp as a knife cutting through the air, looking straight at her husband and children. "I will improve the farm's security. We will build higher fences, install more cameras. We can't just rely on luck to keep the horses safe." Mr. Jolie nodded, his gaze full of agreement. "If you decide this, I'll always support you." Dr. Ray had warned that Emma would need special care, but Angelina couldn't let everything slip away again. She was determined. "Not only will we improve security, but I'll make sure Emma receives the best care. I'll ask Dr. Ray to visit regularly. Though it'll be costly, I want her to grow strong and healthy." The Jolie family agreed, determined to protect the future of the horses on the farm. In the weeks that followed, they worked tirelessly. Not out of obligation, but out of love for Anna and Emma. Emma had been weak, but now she was growing stronger, exploring the world around her with all the curiosity and vitality of youth. One afternoon, when Angelina saw Emma running across the yard, her heart felt full of comfort. In that moment, she understood that she had made the right choice by confronting Lucy. Though the past couldn't be changed, at least she had protected the future. "You're a fighter, Emma," she said, her voice gentle but resolute. "Just like your mother, and we'll always be here to protect you." In the days that followed, life on the Jolie farm seemed to return to its usual rhythm, but the atmosphere inside the house was filled with change. Emma, with her cheerfulness and energy, had brought a small but powerful joy that the Jolie family had not felt in a long time. Every morning Angelina would wake early, enjoy a strong cup of coffee, and step outside to the stables. There she was greeted by Anna's gentle neighing, while Emma always frolicked around the stable. In those moments, despite the lingering wounds of the past, she found solace in the sound of hooves on the ground, in the cool breeze, and in the trusting eyes of Anna. One October afternoon, as the last rays of autumn sunlight filtered through the branches of the ancient oak trees, Angelina was tending to Anna in the cool shade. Suddenly, the soft sound of horse-drawn wheels rolling from afar reached her ears. She looked up and saw John's figure drawing nearer. His face was stern, yet his composure remained intact. It had been weeks since their last important conversation, and although they no longer avoided each other as before, their exchanges had become short and formal. But Angelina knew he had kept his promise. Robert was still in the stall, and John had ensured there had been no incidents. "Good afternoon, John," Angelina spoke as she set aside the brush and stood up. "Is everything all right?" John nodded, but there was something uneasy in his demeanor. "Everything is fine, Angelina," he replied, his voice low. "I just wanted to talk to you if you don't mind." Angelina nodded, removing her gloves, her gaze steady but gentle. "Of course. What would you like to discuss?" John took a deep breath, hesitating before meeting her eyes, which were filled with concern. "First, I want to thank you for the way you've handled everything. I know the situation with Lucy has been complicated, and you could have chosen a much harsher path, but you didn't. I truly appreciate that, and I sincerely apologize for what happened." Angelina listened in silence, occasionally nodding. She had spent many sleepless nights contemplating the decision not to press charges against Lucy. She understood this was a moment to move forward, to stop the pain, and to ensure no more incidents occurred. She looked at John and saw that he was genuinely struggling with himself. "I appreciate your words, John," she said, her tone calm yet profound. "I hope Lucy is well, but we need to clarify something." John cut her off, his voice urgent. "I understand," he said, his expression serious. "I promise Robert won't go near Anna unless you allow it. But there's one more thing I need to say about Robert. I know I played a part in making things difficult, and I know his presence might have brought up painful memories. But please believe me, I never intended for him to cause any trouble." Angelina looked him in the eye, noticing the genuine struggle in his words. She knew that Robert wasn't the root cause of all the past issues. But she also understood that, after all, he needed care and love, just like every other creature. "John, I don't blame Robert," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "All I want is for him to be well cared for, not to suffer because of the choices made by others. If you're truly committed to protecting him, I believe we can move forward without any more conflict." Their conversation began to flow more easily, as if the weight in each of their hearts had lessened. They discussed the details of Robert's needs, and John promised to supervise him closely, ensuring he wouldn't approach Anna without Angelina's explicit permission. They even agreed to share responsibility for his care, and John expressed his gratitude for Angelina's patience. In the following weeks, the relationship between John and the Jolie family slowly healed. Although trust had not fully been restored, mutual respect and understanding had begun to bloom. John began appearing more frequently at the farm, helping with small tasks and occasionally bringing simple gifts like bread or baked goods. as a way to make amends for past mistakes. Angelina accepted his kindness without words, but in her heart, she cherished these efforts. As the autumn winds blew through the Jolie farm, carrying the scent of pumpkins and dry leaves, the atmosphere turned festive. Halloween was approaching, and Angelina decided to host a special gathering, not only to welcome the holiday season but also to officially introduce Emma, the newest member of the family. In the days that followed, Angelina decided to share an idea she had long been contemplating: opening the farm to the public, so people could come and visit Anna and Emma. They would offer tours, teach children how to care for horses, and help people understand why the work they did was so important. With the idea of opening the farm to the public, Angelina not only created a space for people to visit, but also began a campaign to raise awareness about the importance of compassion towards animals. The farm tours would not only showcase how to care for horses, but also tell the inspiring story of Anna and Emma, the challenges they had overcome together, and the power of love. The Jolie farm, once a quiet place, had become a destination for those seeking solace and inspiration, especially children who loved horses and animals. When they came here, they didn't just learn how to care for them. They also received profound lessons on patience, compassion, and animal protection. She and her family organized special activities on major holidays, and gradually, the farm became not only a place of education, but also a united community, where everyone worked together to protect these invaluable creatures. However, the story did not end there. One day, during a special tour, Angelina met a group of young volunteers passionate about helping animals. Together with them, she began to implement a new plan, expanding the tours to more remote areas where many people had never had the chance to encounter horses and animals. And there, in the first look of the children as they entered the horse stalls, Angelina realized that she was not only changing the lives of the horses, but also inspiring young hearts, those who would become the future protectors of animals. Have you ever felt a change in your life thanks to a special creature? Share your story about the animal you love, or the actions you've taken to protect animals in the comments below. To help spread the message of appreciation and love for these voiceless friends, don't forget to like, share this video, and leave a comment to help create a strong community dedicated to animal protection.